The Confederate battle flag was introduced during the Civil War as a field banner for the Army of Northern Virginia. Its red background and blue saltire with white stars were meant to avoid confusion with the Union's flag. After the war, it faded from use until the mid-20th century, when it was revived during resistance to desegregation. It became a symbol of Southern heritage to some and white supremacy to others. The flag has appeared at Klan rallies, protest marches, and on state property. It became especially controversial after the 2015 Charleston church shooting, when multiple states began removing it from public spaces. Critics linked it to enslavement, racism, and treason. Defenders claim it represents culture, not hate. It is still one of the most contested symbols in American history. The Ku Klux Klan flag typically features a red background with a white cross on a central blood drop emblem. This design was adopted by the Klan in the 20th century and is based on the group's self-styled order known as the Invisible Empire. The flag symbolizes the Klan's ideology of white separatism and was often displayed during parades, rallies, and cross-lighting ceremonies. While there is no single standard Klan flag, this version remains the most recognized. Due to its associations with racial hatred and historical violence, the flag is considered a hate symbol by civil rights organizations and is banned on many platforms and properties. Its display continues to provoke strong public backlash and legal challenges. Georgia's state flag from 1956 to 2001 prominently featured the Confederate battle emblem. It was adopted amid backlash to the Supreme Court's Brown v. Board of Education decision, which mandated school desegregation. The timing and political debate surrounding the flag's adoption are widely seen as a response to civil rights pressures. It remained the state's flag for 45 years despite national criticism. In 2001, the state replaced the design with a new flag that minimized Confederate imagery and later adopted a design based on the first national flag of the Confederacy. The 1956 flag remains controversial due to its origins during a period of opposition to racial integration and is often cited as an example of state-sanctioned resistance to civil rights reform. Mississippi's state flag, flown from 1894 to 2020, included the Confederate battle emblem in its canton. It was the last U.S. state flag to feature the symbol. The design became increasingly controversial in the 21st century, with critics arguing it honored a legacy of racial hierarchy and exclusion. Defenders claimed it represented Southern pride and history. Following nationwide protests in 2020, including calls from business leaders, athletes, and lawmakers, the state legislature voted to retire the flag. A new flag design without Confederate elements was adopted later that year by popular vote. The second national flag of the Confederacy, known as the Stainless Banner, was adopted in 1863. It featured a white field with the Confederate battle emblem in the canton. The design was meant to distinguish the Confederate government from its predecessor, but led to confusion on the battlefield, especially when hanging limp, as it resembled a flag of surrender. Its white background was described by some Confederate leaders as symbolizing the supremacy of their cultural ideals, a statement later interpreted by critics as racially motivated. The flag saw limited use before being replaced in 1865. The first official national flag of the Confederacy, known as the Stars and Bars, was adopted in 1861. It featured 3 horizontal stripes, 2 red, 1 white, and a blue canton with white stars. The number of stars changed as more states joined the Confederacy. The flag resembled the U.S. flag closely, which caused confusion during combat, leading to its eventual replacement. While less recognized than the Confederate battle flag, the Stars and Bars is still associated with the Confederacy and its founding principles. Some groups display it as a historical symbol, while others view it as part of a broader legacy of division. It continues to appear in reenactments and heritage displays, though not without controversy. The blood-stained banner was the third and final national flag of the Confederacy, adopted in March 1865, just weeks before the Civil War ended. It modified the previous stainless banner by adding a vertical red stripe on the fly end to reduce confusion with surrender flags. The battle emblem remained in the canton. The new design saw minimal use due to the Confederacy's imminent collapse. Despite its brief lifespan, the flag has re-emerged in some fringe circles and online communities. Critics argue it reflects a continued reverence for Confederate ideals, while others claim it holds only historical interest. Its name and design remain polarizing in modern discussions about public symbolism and historical memory. Alabama's state flag, adopted in 1895, features a red St. Andrew's cross on a white field. The design closely resembles the Confederate battle flag's diagonal cross, but without stars or a colored background. Historians debate whether the flag was explicitly intended to honor the Confederacy, though its adoption during the post-Reconstruction era suggests symbolic alignment with Southern heritage narratives. The flag remains in use today and is occasionally subject to public debate over its historical associations and perceived meanings. Florida's current state flag, adopted in 1900, includes a red saltire resembling the Cross of Burgundy over a white background with the state seal in the center. The saltire was added to differentiate the flag from a plain white banner, but the design's similarity to the Confederate battle flag has drawn criticism. Adopted during the Jim Crow era, some historians argue the timing suggests an additional nod to Confederate symbolism. Defenders of the flag point to Spanish colonial heritage, as the Red Cross also resembles early Spanish military banners. The flag remains in official use and is displayed widely. The thin blue line flag is a white and black version of the U.S. flag, with a single horizontal blue stripe. It was created to represent support for law enforcement and the risks officers face in the line of duty. While originally used to honor fallen police, the flag gained wider attention during protests and political demonstrations. Critics argue the design has become politicized, particularly in opposition to calls for police reform. It has been associated with counter-protests and displayed alongside more extreme imagery in some cases. Supporters see it as a symbol of public safety and sacrifice. The flag remains a point of tension for some, especially when flown at public events or government facilities. The Betsy Ross flag features 13 stars in a circle on a blue field, alongside 13 red and white stripes, representing the original colonies during the American Revolution. It's one of the oldest American flag designs, and for most of its history, it was simply viewed as a symbol of independence and unity. But more recently, it's become a subject of debate. In the 2010s, the flag began appearing at rallies and events alongside far-right and extremist symbols. It wasn't the flag itself causing concern, it was where it was showing up and who was using it. In 2019, Nike pulled a shoe featuring the design after activist Colin Kaepernick reportedly raised concerns about its modern associations. Supporters say it's just an early version of the American flag, but critics argue that when it's flown in certain contexts today, it can signal a call to return to an era when not all Americans were free. Created in 1775 during the American Revolution, the Gadsden flag featured a coiled rattlesnake on the warning, "Don't tread on me." It symbolized vigilance, unity, and resistance to tyranny. The Continental Marines used it early in the war. Over time, it evolved into a broader symbol of individual rights and limited government. In the 21st century, it reappeared at libertarian protests and later at events tied to anti-government and far-right groups. Its use during the 2014 Bundy standoff and the 2021 Capitol riot made it a point of controversy. The flag now draws sharply different reactions depending on the crowd in which it appears. The Black Lives Matter flag, featuring bold Black Lives Matter text or a raised fist on a black background, emerged after the 2013 founding of the movement and became a central emblem during the 2020 protests following high-profile incidents involving law enforcement. Schools, city halls, and sports teams have flown it, sometimes alongside the U.S. flag. In response, several states and local governments moved to restrict protest flags on public buildings, sparking legal challenges and policy debates in schools and legislatures. Its visibility and meaning continue to shift depending on where and why it's flown. The Proud Boys flag, often black and yellow with a laurel wreath, Gothic PB text, or nationalist symbols, represents a group founded in 2016. It gained notoriety for its role in political street violence, notably during the 2021 Capitol breach, where members were later convicted on serious federal charges, including seditious conspiracy. The design, created for branding rather than heritage, is often paired with slogans about Western values or nationalism. While not as widely flown as other flags, it remains a potent symbol in online spaces and protest scenes. This revolutionary flag shows a lone pine tree and the phrase, "an appeal to heaven." It flew over early American naval ships starting in 1775, symbolizing divine justification for rebellion. After fading from use for over 2 centuries, it reappeared in religious political movements during the 2010s. In recent years, it has been waved at anti-government and Christian nationalist events. Some churches display it alongside the American flag. Its original context, a last resort in the face of monarchy, is now layered with modern calls for theocratic governance. The shift in meaning has reignited debate over what the flag actually stands for. Maryland's flag combines the black and gold Calvert family coat of arms and the red and white Crossland family coat of arms. During the Civil War, Union loyalists in Maryland flew Calvert's colors, while Confederate sympathizers used Crossland's. The state merged them into one flag, officially adopted in 1904. Often praised as one of the most visually distinct U.S. state flags, it has faced criticism in recent decades due to its Confederate associations, particularly amid debates over public monuments. While the design remains unchanged, a few Maryland institutions have occasionally avoided displaying it at official events to sidestep controversy. Adopted in 1861, Virginia's flag shows Virtus, the Roman goddess of virtue, standing over a slain tyrant. The motto beneath reads, Sic semper tyrannis, which is Latin for thus always to tyrants. The phrase is often interpreted as a statement that tyrants will always meet a dire end. The phrase became infamous after John Wilkes Booth shouted it following Lincoln's assassination. The flag was introduced the same year Virginia seceded from the Union, linking it closely to the state's Confederate past. Unlike other states, Virginia has never significantly revised its flag. Supporters argue it celebrates liberty and resistance to despotism. Others see the imagery and motto as tied to violent rebellion. Flying the U.S. flag upside down is technically not vandalism. It's a formal signal of distress. According to the U.S. Flag Code, flying the U.S. flag upside down is meant to indicate immediate danger to life or property. But in modern politics, that meaning has shifted. In recent years, the upside-down flag has been used at protests across the political spectrum. It's shown up at anti-war marches, racial justice rallies, January 6th demonstrations, and even outside Supreme Court justices' homes. So while the flag once meant help is needed, now it often means something more, that the person flying it believes the country itself is in crisis. This transformation has made the upside-down flag deeply polarizing, with some viewing it as disrespectful or even seditious. The monochrome American flag, often all black or black and white, sometimes omitting stars, is an unofficial design with no standardized form. Emerging in late 20th century militia or survivalist subcultures, it is used by groups claiming the Republic has fallen, often signaling defiance or refusal to surrender. Some versions evoke mourning or finality. Popular in prepper, anti-establishment, and accelerationist circles, it is rarely flown publicly but circulates widely online, where traditional symbols are reinterpreted. Its aesthetics and vague meaning fuel its appeal in fringe spaces. The American Indian Movement flag is bold, a red field with a yellow circle inside of which is the profile of a native man combined with an upraised hand with 2 fingers extended. It represents the American Indian movement, founded in 1968 to address systemic injustice, treaty violations, and police violence against Native communities. Originally focused on urban indigenous rights, AIM quickly became known for direct action, including the 1973 occupation of Wounded Knee. Since then, the flag has become a broader symbol of Native sovereignty and resistance to government overreach. But its presence is not without controversy, particularly in law enforcement and political circles, where AIM has been accused of militant tactics. And because the flag often appears at protests over land rights, pipelines, or sacred sites, it's sometimes treated as confrontational or anti-American. The Black Panther flag shows a black panther mid-stride, often paired with red, black, and green colors from the Pan-African movement. It first emerged in Oakland, California in the late 1960s, during a wave of revolutionary organizing. The Panthers used it in political education, mutual aid programs, and armed patrols meant to monitor police behavior. The flag declined after the party's fall in the late 1980s, but returned in streetwear, murals, and protest art. Though no longer widely flown, it still provokes strong reactions, seen by some as confrontational or radical. The Republic of Texas flag, used by modern secessionists, is nearly identical to the Texas state flag, a single star on a blue vertical stripe with red and white horizontal stripes. Groups claiming the Republic of Texas, emerging in the 1990s, argue the 1845 annexation was illegal and declare the U.S. government illegitimate. The flag appears in court filings, protest standoffs, and online forums advocating independence, as well as among those asserting Texas's constitutional right to secede. Though marginal, the movement persists, and the flag remains a symbol of defiance toward federal authority. The Cascadia flag, nicknamed the Doug flag, features a Douglas fir tree centered on blue, white, and green stripes. Designed in the 1990s, it represents the Pacific Northwest's natural environment and regional identity. Originally tied to sustainability and bioregionalism, it was later adopted by Cascadia independence activists. Critics argue it masks separatist goals under environmental messaging. The flag shows up at music festivals, soccer matches, and climate rallies, but also in circles advocating for the political breakaway of Washington, Oregon, and British Columbia. The Bear flag was first raised in 1846 during the short-lived Bear Flag Revolt, when a group of American settlers declared California independent from Mexico. The original version features a crude star, a grizzly bear, and the words California Republic. Though the revolt lasted less than a month, the flag became a foundational symbol of California's identity. It was officially adopted as the state flag in 1911. Critics point out that the revolt coincided with the broader U.S. conquest of Mexican territory and the beginning of indigenous displacement. Today, the flag is everywhere, from government buildings to tourist merch, despite its roots in settler rebellion. The original Rainbow Pride flag was created in 1978 by artist Gilbert Baker in San Francisco. It featured 8 colors, each representing a different value like life, spirit, and harmony. Over time, it was simplified into 6 stripes, red through purple, and became a global symbol of LGBTQ+ visibility and rights. New versions have emerged since, including the Progress Pride flag, which adds stripes for trans and marginalized communities of color. In some countries, the flag is displayed on government buildings during Pride Month. Elsewhere, it's banned or restricted, especially in regions with anti-LGBTQ+ laws. Its public use often sparks cultural and political debate. The Transgender flag was designed in 1999 by Navy veteran and activist Monica Helms. It features 5 horizontal stripes, blue for boys, pink for girls, and white for those transitioning or outside the gender binary. The pattern is symmetrical, symbolizing correctness no matter how it's flown. The flag gained wider visibility in the 2010s and is now displayed at pride events, schools, and government buildings during awareness campaigns. Some critics challenge its presence in public institutions, citing political neutrality concerns. Supporters view it as a symbol of affirmation and identity. It remains one of the most recognized flags in the broader LGBTQ+ movement. Thank you for watching the video and making it to the end. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe learned something. It's interesting to see flags here from all sides of the political spectrum, and I wonder what you think about it. Which flag here is most controversial for you? And which ones don't belong on the list at all? We'd love to hear your comments. If you liked the video, please give us a like. There should be another video on your screen right now that YouTube thinks you might like, so check it out. Thanks again. See you next time.